Hi, and hopefully you'll find this quick little video on how to deal with maintenance of a suspension post, seat post, quite helpful. If you're like me and you either have a hardtail or you run a rigid bike, like I do, then you'll probably at some point want to try and see the benefits of a suspension seat post. It's just a standard seat post with a coil spring inside or air spring, and this piston which gives you a little bit of give, particularly if you've got a rigid bike like my front fatty. The problem is it does need regular maintenance, and I've been pretty naughty and haven't done anything to this for the last year. So I ride regularly through sand, salt water. You can see there's quite a bit of corrosion on the saddle rails there, and this thing has started squeaking quite badly. What you'll want to do is probably just remove any obvious or surface debris and dirt. So I've, as you can see from the debris here, already tried to do that, but just to give you a little demonstration, just get in there with a shower, blast it all off, everything in there, clean that away. You don't need to handle it with kid gloves or anything, that's absolutely fine. So you should see all the surface dirt come off of there. Then you'll want to come to the bottom of the seat post, and you'll see here that you've got your adjusting bolt. That needs to be removed first off with a 6mm Allen key. So I've got my multi-tool here. We're going to just put it in there like so, and you'll want to remove that anti-clockwise like so. There we go. And eventually that will come out. See, just place that down there, probably with a bit more care. You'll see then that you've got this plastic or nylon bush, so you just want to pop that out, and you'll see that the coil spring inside will come out. So you see the little plastic adjuster there, take that off. You'll see actually the damage and destruction that I've caused over the last year of riding it through rivers, beaches, and just generally through complete filth. So that will need a thorough clean down. You'll see there's a bit of surface rust there as well. That's not too much of a problem. I should be able to clean that off once it's been degreased. So to really clean the coil spring properly, what you'll want to do is have a look at getting the surface grime off first, and then you'll want to apply some degreaser like so. And then take something like an old toothbrush, really get in there, get the majority of that really bad stuff off. And that should actually deal with some of the surface rust as well, if yours is as bad and uncared for as mine is. So when you finish cleaning your coil spring, it should look a bit more acceptable, something like that, but as you can see, because I've been so lax in maintenance, it's suffered a bit, so it has got a bit of surface corrosion, which I've just doled up a bit. So anyway, I would also recommend at this point that when you've got the coil spring out, get some degreaser down here, WD-40, any kind of standard bike degreaser, and give that a bit of a blast with, you know, a hot shower and a toothbrush. Get all of the gunk out of there, surface debris, just make sure that's nice and clean. And you may as well at the same time, especially if it's been abused like mine, have a look at getting the piston out. So just pop that down like this. There we go. And you'll want to just check for any pitting, scratches, damage to that. Give that a good clean and pop that back in again. So when everything's been washed out and cleaned and you're happy that there's no damage, what you want to do is you'll want to go and get an old dirty rag and dry every single element of this. Make sure everything's clean, dry, and if you really want to be seriously thorough, you can take a hairdryer to it on a low setting. Just blast out any of that water before you go any further. So you'll just want to give things like the piston a good clean, and if you've cleaned the inside of these areas, just screw this up, and you'll want to make sure you've got all of the water out of there, like so. And you'll want to repeat that with every element, as I say, with the inside of the post, with your coil spring, and of course little elements like the nylon bush and your adjusting bolt as well. So what you'll want to do once you've dried everything off is just make sure you have everything ready in place to put together again, clean. Get yourself a tube of any kind of grease really, but I've got some stuff from Decathlon here which has proven pretty reliable. It's grease with added Teflon, which is particularly good if you, as I say, use it like I do in a lot of wet environments, sand, salt water, etc. So we just want to start off probably by greasing each of these elements in turn. So grease the piston, grease the coil spring, and then put the sleeve back on the top half of the coil spring, and then grease the adjusting bolt as well. And you'll also want to put a generous amount of grease within the tube itself. For the trickier areas, like right inside the middle of the seat post, just get something long like this and just make sure you apply a liberal amount of grease to the end, like so. There we go. And you'll just want to take that and just apply that. This is probably not the best tool because it's a threaded bar. Obviously you don't really want metal on metal contact like that, but failing having anything else, just put that inside, clean any excess off like that, and then we can start reassembling. So now that all of our parts are beautifully greased and nice and clean, we can start reassembling. So you want to take the piston, put the bush back in the bottom here, and you can just basically pop that back in this way. Make sure it's properly seated. There we go. That's that done. Then you'll want to take the spring, which has got the sheath on the end there, and that goes in this way, like so. And then you'll want to pop this bush in this way, and then finally your adjuster bolt, and that just goes in like so. If I can get it in, there we go. Screw that clockwise, take your 6mm Allen key, and you'll want to screw that back in like so. You'll notice that the piston is now returning to its rightful place at the top. So if you've already got an align somewhere, I don't because I'm not very well organised, but if you already have, you'll be able to seat this back to its original position so that you've got the rebound that you want on the piston at the top. But just screw that in for the time being to complete this exercise, and then you can adjust it later as you see fit. So when you've completed putting everything back together again, the last thing you'll want to do is just top up the piston area and the roller there with a little bit more grease, just to make sure that that's all weatherproofed and it's going to roll nice and smoothly. These pivot points as well that you see, you've got 4 on each side, there, and there. You'll probably just want to apply a little bit of oil, quite conservatively, just make sure that those don't squeak and you'll want to do that on a regular basis. And hopefully that should keep your lovely suspension post good to go and maintenance free for another 6 months. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you don't, just give me some kind of feedback, and remember to press the subscribe button as well. Thanks very much.